It has been a very long week with new releases last week that were absolutely terrible. But tonight we have The Long Walk officially opening in theaters. And this movie instantly becomes one of my favorite movies of the year so far. Now with this movie, it is based on Stephen King's book. And going into it, I was a little nervous, really because of the way that his movie adaptations have struggled. In a sense, the book obviously is better than most of the movies that are put on screen, but The Long Walk is one of those movies that does not disappoint. This is a true definition of a walk or die film. Now, with Francis Lawrence, you know from the Hunger Games that there is going to be intensity. You know that there's going to be a lot of character development. And in this movie, you have it all. Now, I would be remiss if I did not say, that this is one of those movies that once it was announced that it was coming out, I was very eager to see what direction it would go and how it would translate from a book to a movie. Now, The Long Walk is based on a war-torn area where people from all 50 states come together and they are walking with no finish line. There is no end in sight until everybody is either dead and there is one victor, and that is the only way that you can win. Now, one thing that stands out very early on are the characters. I think when you are looking at the characters from the very beginning all the way up to the end, there is so much personality that you can sit back and understand the perspectives of each of them. And with each character, you're going to have your own style of comedy, toughness, and really confusion as to why they keep going. Now, for a serious movie, there is a lot of funny moments within this film. That was the one thing that really made this movie even more enjoyable, is being able to sit back and laugh while watching what you are seeing on the screen. Now, with my love for the Hunger Games, this was an instant movie that I knew I wanted to see. And I think if you look at the Hunger Games and you see all of the action, in this film, the action is based on really the acts of rebellion throughout. Now, when you are looking at each character and each specific scene of this film, there is always a purpose to what you are seeing. You are not sitting there thinking, why are they showing this? Where is this going to go? Because before you even have a second to do so, it makes sense. Now, another pro that really stands out is if you have not read the book and you are thinking that you understand what's going to happen and you have an idea in your head, they do an excellent job of flipping the script. And I think with that flip of the script, in our theater, there were some audible let out. Like you heard the O's, you heard like these kind of like senses of what actually just happened. And that is what makes a good movie. And The Long Walk did not disappoint at all. Now, if we have to look at a con, I think some of the characters, there's one in particular within the film where you see him play this playful, tough guy, nothing's going to bother me sense of a character, but then it almost crumbles. And I think with some of the characters, we did not get a full final, goodbye before they met their fate. But I think when you look at what is on screen and you look at Ray and the whole film is centered around him in a sense, you understand why he is doing what he is doing. And I think a lot of the characters and a lot of the situations revolve around Ray and ultimately what his end goal is. And so as each character gets down to the end, you start to see why they are there and what their end goal is going to be. Now, I have mentioned the phrase character a lot in this review, and I think with a movie like this, where it is based on a walking situation and you are looking at it from that perspective, you have to focus on the characters. And you really have to hope that as you watch it on screen, the characters come together and that makes a good movie. Now, another con, this has nothing to do with the movie, but I don't understand how people come to movies and want to talk through the whole time. There was a couple that sat down in front of me. Don't know why. It was an open theater for the most part. And they wanted to whisper back and forth about each individual death, each individual situation. And ultimately, it was from the start to the end. And that to me just makes no sense. Why come to a movie or sit next to people or by people if that's all you're going to do? But now for rating. For me, The Long Walk is a 4.8 out of 5. This movie, in my opinion, has jumped weapons into my number 2 spot of the year. This was an engaging movie. It was fun. It had a lot of suspense. You were stressed at parts. You had enough time to laugh at certain scenes. And I think overall, it was just the perfect movie after a long week of bad movies. And so this is my first review in a week. There were not good releases last week, as I've said. So my interest level in going to the movies was down. And my expectations for The Long Walk were very high, and it definitely did not disappoint. So if you have an opportunity to see The Long Walk this weekend, I highly recommend it. You will not be disappointed. So for me, it is a 4.8 out of 5. It is my number 2 movie of the year already. But stay tuned. We have a few more reviews coming this weekend. There are some newer movies coming out. So stay tuned for that. Hit the subscribe button, and I will talk to you all later.